Hare Krishna Neetu Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha conference call. We are doing Gita series. Today we are going to start 13th chapter by Her Grace Charu Radha Mataji. Before we start today's session, I would like to read Srila Prabhupada's quote. Today is 28th December. If one can please a pure devotee of the Lord, such action means immediate satisfaction of the Lord, even though such a person is not officially qualified to receive the mercy of the Lord. December 20, 1970. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today we are very fortunate to have Her Grace Charu Radha Mataji to enlighten us on the topic of Bhagavad Gita, chapter summary 13. So before I hand over the call to her, I would like to read a brief introduction about her. Her Grace Charu Radha Mataji is a disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj, and she is staying currently in Charlotte. She attends regularly Charlotte congregation, and she is very good and enthusiastic devotee who serves a lot her congregation, and also she is having a very sweet voice. She sings so nicely, and she was introduced into Krishna consciousness through the online course organized by ISKCON Mangalore, as her daughter was bent upon buying a Bhagavad Gita book whenever they visit Indian grocery store. Her Krishna conscious roots further strengthened when she started listening to many classes hosted by Bhakti Sangha Japa group. When she is not doing her material obligatory works, she would read Srila Prabhupada books and other works from his disciples. These days, mother and daughter, due to starts their day and ends their day with Bhakti Sangha conference call, and they are very grateful to us, and we are also very grateful to them for joining our classes regularly and giving their association. Thank you, Mataji. We are eagerly waiting to hear from you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vintakandalika Majaji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances to you and to all Vaishnavas assembled in this forum. Hare Krishna. Are you able to hear me, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. We were able to hear and see your PPT and see you also.
Thank you so much. Before I start the class, I would like to place a disclaimer regarding the chapter 13 summary. I'm very new, so kindly please forgive for any mistakes which I commit. And I really learned from all the great speakers from Bhakti Sangha Japa group. So please, just as a newbie who is just trying to share whatever I have read, you might ask, why did you really pick? But it so happened like when I first read the chapter 13, I was so intrigued by it. I always wanted to come back and then read more, but I never got an opportunity. It's like I have always wanted to just finish the assigned task. So this really inspired me to take this forward. So I really thank the organizers of Bhakti Sangha Japa group to giving me an opportunity to share what I have read in Bhagavad Gita Chapter 13. So let us try to move forward. Please also bless me that I am able to repeat the same words as acharyas and other senior devotees have conveyed it through their works without interpreting or concocting my own ideas. I would like to request all Vaishnavas to bless me. Let us start with Mangalacharan so that Srila Prabhupada and Supreme Lord's bless us so that we are able to understand in the right context. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकयां चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददान्ति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपथकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सगगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं सा Advaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamsham He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusate Devi Pranamami Haripriye Mancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripasindubhye Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshnaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Niti Namine Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayane Gaurakata Damadaya Nagaragramatharine Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyashate Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dina Taranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. So, Bhagavad Gita Chapter 13 is named as Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. So we are going to explore more on this, but I will just highlight on what this Vibhaga means. Vibhaga means splitting. So Shri Krishna is going to discuss in detail about Kshetra Kshetrajna, and Srila Prabhupada has translated this as nature, the enjoyer, and consciousness. We will see why as we go forward. Okay. So we all know, we have heard so many times in this series for last couple of weeks, like Bhagavad Gita, first 6 chapters are like Karma Yoga, and from 7 to 12 is like Bhakti Yoga, and from chapter 13 to 18 is Jnana Yoga. So you might ask, like, why Jnana Yoga now? So we have already read Bhakti Yoga, right? So we know Bhakti is the best. Krishna has also given the Chatushloki in chapter 10, and in chapter 9, he has also explored various his opulence and how do he create, what is the best Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. We have already read about Bhakti Yoga is the best, and in chapter 12, yesterday we also learned that if we just follow the pure devotional service, it's sure that we will in the rest of the chapters. Any prompts? Okay. Are you able to hear me, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
I can hear you, Mataji.
It's
Okay.
breaking.
Yes, please.
Breaking
We
a little
can
bit.
hear you.
Thank you, because I got like my internet unstable, so I just got it out. Okay, we can explore further. That's no problem. Because chapter 13 going forward, it's more of Jnana Yoga, and it will be more of philosophical. So I will try to make it interactive, just to make sure that I'm not putting anybody to sleep. Or if I'm not able to get interactive, please give some thumbs up during the course of this class. So it will give me assurance that yes, I'm not putting anybody to sleep. And I also have a request. If possible, please try to listen this next 30-40 minutes. We have some quiz in the end. I promise that it's very easy and very simple to respond, but something to take up forward too. So we might ask, why do we have to know about Jnana Yoga? I don't want to become a Jnani. I don't want to end up in, we have already read Jnani who is trying to follow, then they would end up in Brahmajyoti. So we don't want to do that, right? But there is a reason why Krishna has added this Jnana Yoga section towards the end. And Prabhupada gives us a classic statement. It's like, religion without philosophy is sentiment, whereas philosophy without religion is mental speculation. So it is very necessary that we know why we do what we do. So unless we know for sure, it won't last long. And this reminds me of words from His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami. In one of his books, he has written, like just before he took it up to Krishna consciousness, he was in New York. I hope everybody is aware of His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami. He was a great, he's great in psychology, and he's great. He knows about philosophy. He has his hats in many great sections. So in one day, and he happened to see this Hare Krishna devotees doing a kirtan towards the end of the corner of his New York street. He used to stay in New York, and one day it was a cold evening those days, and Hare Krishna devotees were used to sing kirtans in the cold New York evening night. This used to happen for a long time, and he was thinking, like, why are they really so keen upon it? So he thought just it is just a sentiment, and they are so attracted to the tune, and they just wanted to get some good name. First, he was thinking like that, and towards it happened for some time, and then he started realizing, no, there should be something more to it, or else they won't be doing the same time. And this really provoked him to read about the philosophy of Hare Krishna movement. And he did read. First, his instigation was he started reading this philosophy just to prove that this whatever philosophy is there, it's just wrong, and whatever he knows, that's the right. So he started to do that. But as he kept on reading the philosophy of our acharyas, what the acharyas has listed out from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, he got too much attached to it, and he said it is so deep and it is not very easy to understand. And then he realized that why people are doing what they are doing. So similarly, Prabhupada wants us to know, and Krishna also wants us to know the real meaning of all the most of the slokas in what he has explained until chapter 12. It's like especially in the first 6 chapters, he has explained we are not the body, we are the soul, and we don't do any work. We, in the sense, the soul does not do any work, and na jayate na mriyate na kadashit, and nainam chintanti shastrani, nothing can break apart. He has explained so many things, right? And now Krishna is going to give the details of why he said what he said. And let's see how the acharyas decode it so that we are able to understand with our limited capacity. And chapter connection. Like normally we would see that a new chapter begins with the prompts from the previous chapter. Like say, for example, chapter 11 to in previous chapter, Krishna has explained his opulence, and now and then Krishna would have displayed the universal form. And chapter 12, Arjuna would ask question, what should I follow? It's like, should I worship your universal form, or should I worship the personal form? And that was the prompt. Similarly, in chapter 8, in the previous chapter, chapter 7, Krishna would have ended the chapter by giving a few words like Adibhuta, Adideva, Adhyatmik, and that would be a trigger. So normally every chapter would have some key connection. But if we look into the chapter 13, what Acharyas has to say is, here Krishna is trying to provide philosophical knowledge necessary to extricate oneself from the material entanglement as promised in 12.7. What is 12.7? तेषामहं समुत्तर्ता मृत्यु संसार सागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मय्या वेशित चेतसाम्. So in 12.7, Krishna has promised that even if we are drowning in this material ocean, whoever takes up this devotional service, he will be able to lift us up, just like the way we have seen in many pictures, right? Krishna would come in Garuda and then would able to lift us, just like that helicopter would lift us who is drowning. Krishna is able to lift us. How is Krishna able to do it? That we are going to see it now. And Acharya says that chapter 13 to 18 is mostly Jnana Yoga that culminates to Bhakti jnana. It's not that jnana, we are going to become a jnani and then sit and meditate. No, Acharya is going to define us how this jnana is going to lead us to bhakti and how we can keep our roots strong. Now, everybody has gathered in this great forum, right? We would have received some kind of devotional seed. Something would have keep us rooted. And now with this knowledge, we will see how we can strengthen the roots. And also philosophy really helps us when we are in distress, so that we are not shaken. Sometimes only when they distress or come, only that is the testing time for us. When we are happy, we can speak many things, but during the testing times, how strong we are, how rooted we are, that is the time. And these philosophies will really help us. Going forward, chapter 13, this is an overview. Acharyas has split this. There are totally 35 verses, and they have split into 6 sections. Arjuna's 6th question: Kshetra or Kshetrajna, Jnana, Jnaya, Prakriti, Purusha, and Jnana Chakshu. This is actually a bonus section. Though this is a chapter summary, I understand, but it's like words of Krishna. I couldn't leave many things. It's every verse, it looks like so important. So I tried to group it together, but kindly bear with me today. Some verse we might have to see, because I felt that that would really help us to keep us going. So kindly bear with me today. Hare Krishna. So Arjuna, in his first verse, asked this question to Krishna. प्रकृत्यै पुरुषै चैव क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञमेव च एतत् वेदितुमिच्छामि ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं च केशव. So what is Arjuna asking? Oh Keshava, please tell me about Prakriti, that is material nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, Kshetra, field, Kshetrajna, knower, Jnana, knowledge, and Nye. So please tell me about these terminologies. I would like to know further. But why would Arjuna want to know now? Just like the way Arjuna wants to have some philosophical base, he wants to have some proofs, because Krishna has already told, you are not this body, you are the soul. And chapter 2 from verse 17 to 30, Krishna spoke explicitly about the soul, and even in chapter 4 and 5, he also spoke about what activities that the soul perform. Now he wants to have some evidence. Arjuna is already satisfied with what Krishna has stated, but it's just for us common people, so that we don't ask these questions and we don't get betray. So he wants to make sure that we are also aware of it. Krishna doesn't wait time. So immediately in second verse, Krishna speaks about Kshetra. So he says, Idam shariram kaunteya kshetram ityabhidhiyate. So what is Kshetra? So he says it is a field of activities. And idam shariram kaunteya. So whatever body you are having, that is called as Kshetra. We have already heard, before coming to Krishna consciousness, we would have already heard about this common term, right? Kshetra. It's Kshetra, as it normally it relates to a land or place. We would have heard, I don't know how about others. We have used to calling like Kshetraram, like, did you go and visit those holy places? Kshetra is something like holy place. So Prabhupada says, when you hear about Kshetra, just know that it is a place. So it is a place to do what? So it is a place for the soul that it can enjoy. And Prabhupada immediately refuses it. Your body is the Kshetra, and your body is made up of senses, and you got this body to get the sense gratification. Let's see further why Prabhupada says this. And Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan tried to expand on this topic as why this body is called senses, because this body with senses is the abode of enjoyment, and it is the field. Since it is the basis for sprouting the tree of repeated births. So why do we get repeated births? Say here they are related to a field. So just like a field, say for example, a farmer has a field, it's his own field. Right? So from the field, whatever he gets, it can be a good crop or a bad crop. He is going to reap the benefit out of it. So here the good crop is considered to be like an happiness, and the bad crop is being related to a distress. So in this body, whatever we are going to experience, the happiness or the distress, it is because of that we have been keep getting this body again and again. And yeah, to relate much further, so we have already seen the farmer's land, right? So farmers, he has his jurisdiction on the, he has his full control on his land. So the land, whatever the land is going to give, the farmer is going to reap the benefit out of it. And similarly, Prabhupada gives an apartment as an example. Just like we go and stay in an apartment, so it is a temporary place. It is not a permanent place. Everybody who stays in an apartment would agree with me, right? They will definitely have a long-term plan of getting their own home and then moving away. They don't plan of staying in the apartment for generations after generation and then how? Because in an apartment, it comes with some pre-designed structure. We can't change. Say if there is a kitchen in that apartment, we can't go and talk to the apartment owner and then say, I don't want kitchen here. I want it to be something there. They say, oh, really, is it? You don't want this? Then I will try to find something similar to your requirement. So Prabhupada says, Krishna also tells you something like that. So you are given this body, and if you are not using this body wisely, and if you have different desires, Krishna will see, oh, really? You don't have this desire, so you have a different desire. Don't worry. For those desire, I have different apartment for you, which means I have different body for you, which will help you to satisfy the desire. So that is why the soul keeps on changing different bodies. It's based on what his desire is. We will explore more on this topic as we go through this verse. Just hold on to it. And in case if we are still not clear towards the end, we will revisit on this topic. And His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu also gives another example of a movie. Say, for example, if we go to a movie theater, okay, so a person who is sitting in front of the movie theater, he gets so absorbed in the movie. Say whoever the characters, the lead character that comes, he gets so absorbed in the movie. If the character laughs, he laughs. If the character cries, he also cries. He gets so engrossed in it. But he is not the movie. He is not really playing the character, but still he gets so engrossed to it. Similarly, when a soul takes his body, he gets so engrossed in this bodily conception that he forgets that he is not the real owner of this body, and this is like a temporary body which have been provided by the Lord to satisfy some of our earlier desires. Those earlier desires we will see further. So according to the capacity to dominate the material nature, he is given a field of activity. So we said, whatever, like apartment example, according to my specification, I am given an apartment. Similarly, and we are given this body, and everyone will have influence over their body. It's like, say, for example, even amoeba has a body, even a cat has a body, and even humans, we have some type of body, and they all have their own jurisdiction. They can do only whatever their capacity is, and a cat cannot do more than what his body allows him to do, whereas the human body allows him to do much more. And similarly, another example is a child playing in the backyard. Say, for example, if we allow a child to play in our backyard, all he can do is will be a fence. Only until the fence he can play. That is his jurisdiction. He can't go and throw the ball into the neighbor's house. Correct? So similarly, everybody will have their own fence. That is, for the soul, the body is the limitation. We can do as much as this body allows. And Srimd Bhagavatam explains that this body is means of both enjoyment and liberation. How? By giving an analogy of a vulture and a swan. What they say is, say, for example, there could be Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains this as, Say, for example, a vulture who is not residing in the forest, what it will do, it will come into the forest and it will try to pluck the fruits of whatever the fruits that is grown in the tree. And that fruit, it will be like a distress, because it is not belonging, he doesn't belong to the forest, but somehow he comes and then takes the fruit out. And he thinks that it is more enjoyable. But the swans, who are like liberated souls compared to a liberated souls, what they do, they try to enjoy the fruits and finally try to see how best they can utilize this body and attain the liberation. So those lusty after material enjoyment and dedicated to family life enjoy one of the tree fruits, and swan like material men in the renounced order of life enjoy the other fruit. One, with the help of the bona fide spiritual master, can understand this tree to be a manifestation of potency of one supreme truth, appearing in many forms, actually knows the meaning of this Vedic literature. So that's what Acharya says, this body is being awarded. And even Krishna says in 11th canto, Labdva sudurlabidam bahusambhavante manushyamartadam anityamapiha dhiraha turnam yatetanapatet anumrityu yavan nishreyasa yasayakkalu sarvatasyat. So what that is Krishna say, Labdva sudurlamidam. So this body, the human form of life, you got it after many births, which is very rare. So what do the dhira do? Apiha dhira, what do the dhira, an intelligent person will do? He will not get entangled here, but he will try to see how best he can get out of this situation. Even though the human form of life is short and temporary, it is not anityam. So human body is not going to last forever. We have come with a not so expiry date, right? But the thing is, we don't know what is the expiry date going to be. So even though we come with an expiry date, he will try to find, the dhira will try to make use the best use of the bad bargain and try to get out of this. Because Vishayakalu sarvatasya, it's like even in the lowest form of life, the sense gratification is available. So why settle for less? So that is what Acharyas and Krishna is trying to say. And after explaining about Kshetra, Krishna is trying to give the details about Kshetrajna. So, etat yo veditam prahu kshetrajnanam iti tadvidaham. So, what is saying? So, no, whoever knows this kshetra, who is different from the soul, then I call that person as a kshetrajna. So, who are we referring to? Here we are referring kshetrajna as a soul. And soul should understand that he is different and the body is different. And the body changes as one ages, as we have seen 6 kind of transformation in second chapter, right? The body, it develops in the womb, it remains, growth, and then produces byproduct. It then grows old and then vanish into the oblivion. So the soul can see all these 6 bodily transformations. So the soul can understand, yes, I am not this body. So this is because we are remaining in the same body, we are able to see it. But we are not able to remember what happened in our previous birth. So that is what Krishna is saying. So try to understand, you are different from this body, and whoever has this knowledge, he is called as a kshetrajna. So here, soul or the jiva is the kshetrajna. We already saw an analogy of a farmer and the field, right? So in the previous analogy, we were more specified, looking to the field. Field is the kshetra. And who is the kshetrajna? Farmer. And here farmer is the soul and the field is the body. And another example which we saw is an apartment example. In the apartment, the body relates to an apartment, and the tenant, whoever resides, he is related to a soul. But Krishna doesn't stop here. He says, you know what? It's not the soul. The jiva alone knows about the body. There is also someone who is known as another kshetrajna. Prabhupada calls him as a super kshetrajna or the superknower, who knows not only this body, but also the bodies of all living entities. And he is like a king. Okay, say for example, say same farmer or a citizen, he can have a jurisdiction. He can know what is happening in his land, only his land. But the king knows what is happening in his whole kingdom. He knows who is owning what. Similarly, the king has a proprietorship and also the controller. So king is compared to a super soul here. Super soul is a proprietor. He has a proprietor over us and he is a controller, right? So he is trying to give an analogy of a king and super soul. So I hope this analogy will be helpful to relate. And then Acharyas list out few differences between Kshetrajna and the super Kshetrajna, supernova, because there are some other philosophies, other theories, other school of thoughts who interpret this verse of Bhagavad Gita as both are the same. So in order to deviate from them, our Acharyas says this living entities are known as Jivatma, whereas the super Kshetrajna is known as a Paramatma. And Jiva is Anu, is 1 by 10,000 size of tip of an hair. Whereas Paramatma is Vibhu, infinite. It's highly impossible for us to see how much he can spread across. And the soul is a secondary proprietor of one body. Whereas the super soul is the supreme proprietor of all the bodies, just like king and the citizen. Citizen, say, I am a citizen. Even though I have a house, I have a place to stay in, it's my jurisdiction is very small. If something happens, if the county changes something and rezone something, then I still have to follow the government orders. Similarly, the king has his own proprietorship. Soul is the secondary controller of senses, whereas the supreme soul is the super controller. He is called as a Hrishikesha Sevana. So he is a Hrishikesha, master of all senses. We are fallible. Paramatma is infallible. And what is the role of Jiva? He is a subordinate. He is a loving servitor. Whereas he is an eternal loving master. Yeah. So Krishna is a loving master. It's not like a strict master where we can't approach. Krishna is very sick. Even though he maintains, he controls, he gives anything for his devotees. So he is a loving master. And there are innumerable living entities. Whereas though super soul is present in each and every living entity, he is not divided. He is still one. That we will see in the verses that is going to come forward. Some people might ask, okay, you are telling me there is a two Kshetrajna, Jiva and Paramatma. Why we are not able to understand? For that, Acharyas give this explanation. There are two ways to get the spiritual reality, that is the knowledge. Either Chit. Chit is the original consciousness of the soul. We have heard so many times, right? Sachit Ananda, soul is eternal. But why I'm not able to understand it? It's because we are now in a Chitta consciousness. What is that? That is when the consciousness is rooted in the material world. It is called as Chitta. Now we forgot everything. When we came down to this material world, everything is blacked out. All we know is enjoy in this material world. We would have also heard some lectures from His Grace Radha Pramod Das, right? Like from mind, Chitta, Manas, Buddhi, Ahankar. Mind has 4 parts. So this Chitta actually refers to this consciousness, which is actually rooted to the material world. And Srila Prabhupada also gives us this details about Brahma Pucham Pratishta. Like there is another way of also knowing, yes, super soul also exists. There is an soul also exists in this body. And he talks about koshas like Pancha Brahma Pucham. There are 5 koshas. But before we go to that, I would just like to touch upon what are koshas. Koshas are like objective levels of God energy and subjective level of individual realization. What does this really mean? Objective level, say for example, if we take an example of a citizen and the country, okay, by default, everybody will be the citizen of that country. But if you ask a small child or a baby, he has no awareness that he's a citizen of so-and-so country. But The country knows as long as he is born in this country, he is a citizen. So that is like an objective level. According to the child, it is just, he has no realization that he is a citizen of so-and-so country. But by default, once he grows up, he will be able to understand that he is a citizen. That is a subjective understanding. Yes, subject object in English we have read it, subject object, like similar to it. So Prabhupada explains these 5 koshas, that as Annamaya kosha. Annamaya kosha is like the soul will have this only motto as a food. He will relate everything to food. Say for example, a baby. For a baby, he doesn't know anything. All he looks for is food. Wherever he is towards his mother, he will also try to see if he can find the food. And then as he grows, he will get into the pranamaya kosha. Now the baby, when he starts putting things into his mouth, right? And something, if it hurts, something it is so horrible for me, something it is painful, then he will start, oh, I can't just eat whatever I want. Then have to also see whether it is good or bad, whether it is going to help me to live or whether the same food is going to get me out of our life. So that kind of reality when he gets, then he gets into the pranamaya kosha. And then there is a manomaya kosha. Actually, Prabhupada calls it as jnanamaya kosha. I couldn't get the correct pictures. So where the soul will try to evaluate his thoughts and emotions. Say, for example, say if I'm angry, I take a moment and then see why I'm angry about it. Why is it really worth getting anger for these things? So we take time and realize our emotions, thoughts, is it good thinking, willing, and feeling? We take time to and realize it. So that is the stage of this Jnanamaya kosha. And then the next stage is Vijnanamaya kosha, where that soul realizes, yes, there is a soul, there is a super soul. I am not this body. That is a stage where it realizes. And then final stage is Anandamaya, where once he realizes the super soul is the maintainer controller and he will be in a complete bliss. So that is what Krishna consciousness is achieving, right? The final stage, the prema. So Anandamaya kosha. So based on this, the soul will be able to realize whether the super soul is present or whether he can understand he is not the body. It depends on to which category he falls into. And then immediately Krishna gets into the next question which Arjuna asked about jnana. Kshetra kshetrajnayoryanam yatta jnanam matam mama. So what do you say? Kshetra kshetrajnayoryanam. So whoever knows about the kshetra and kshetrajna. Kshetrajna, we saw 2 kinds of kshetrajna, who is soul and super soul. So knowledge of this is called as jnana. According to me, this is the jnana. So ability to distinguish between 2 knowers of the field, the jiva and the Lord, and the relation of these 2 with the fields or the prakriti or the body. This is the real knowledge. Anything other than the above, the Lord considers as ignorance. So, and now going further, Krishna is trying to elaborate on this Kshetra and Kshetrajna like a benevolent friend, right? Say if we go and ask a doubt to anybody, so even if someone asks doubt to me, okay, first I will try to explain the topic precisely. And for some reason, if I come to an understanding that he is not able to understand, I will try to add more details so that he is cornered on all sides, so that he never gets deviated, right? So Krishna similar to it, he's telling Arjuna, don't worry, Arjuna, not only this, I'm going to tell you about composition of body, quality of the body, changes that body undergoes, origin of the body, identity of the knower of the fields, and influence of the knower. He's also going to tell all these things coming forward so that we are ascertain whatever we know. And then finally, somebody may ask, okay, you are telling me so many things. Is it there any proof? Or you're just concocting your own ideas? To that, Krishna replied, Rishibir bahuda gitam chandobir vividai pratak brahma sutra pataishchaiva hetu madbir vinishchitaihi. So what does he say? Rishibir bahuda. Many rishis, they have read Gitam, chandobir, Vividai Pritak Chando, it is like the tune of the Brahma Sutra. And in various units, Padai Shaiva, it's like section. Padai means section. Hetu Madbir, with cause and effect, Vinishchitaihi. If anybody wants to know more about it, you can go and find the reference in the Brahma Sutra, where it has been explained profoundly with both cause and effect. So here what Krishna is trying to say. So Krishna is already a supreme guru, but at the same time, he say, follow the standards of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Okay. Moving further, now Krishna is going to explain about the composition of the body. Mahabhute ahankaro buddhir avyaktameva cha indriyani dashaikancha panchendriya gocharaha. So Mahabhutan ahankaro. So now Krishna is going to tell how is this body composed of 26 elements. We will see what this, but just to give a Mahabhutan Mahabhutanam, the great Pancha Mahabhuta, ahankaro, false ego, buddhir, intelligence, avyaktam, Pradhan in this unmanifested form, Indriyani Dasha Ekam Cha. So Indriyani Dasha means 10 senses, Ekam Cha plus 1, 10 senses plus 1 mind, Panchendriya Gocharaha. Pancha Indriya Gochara. So Pancha means 5 Gochara, which is object of senses. So these are the 26 elements. And then he's going to say qualities and the changes of the body. Icha dvesha sukham dukkam sangas chetana dhritihi etat kshetram samasena savikaram udahritam. So what is he saying? So why does this body undergo so many changes? And what is the quality of it? It's because icha dvesha, likes, dislike, sukham dukkam, happiness, distress, sangatas, the aggregate, chetana is consciousness, dhriti, perseverance, Etak Kshetram Samasena. So actually these two verses are together. I just split it up so that we know this, these are going to particular section. So all these constitute the Kshetram. And because of this, they also undergo Vikaram. Vikaram means transformation. So to understand this 26 elements, I thought it will be easy for us to remember if we go to Bhagavatam, where Lord Brahma explained to Narada about the process of primary creation. It was helpful for me to understand, so I thought I will also share. So sorry if this is taking time. I will try to be quick. So here, if you see, Brahma was trying to explain this, how the jivas are formed, how it has been created. So he says, all jivas are first inside the body of Karnadaksha Vishnu. Here the jivas include the jivas or the Baddha jivas, like not the liberated souls like me. So before the creation, I would be in the body of Mahavishnu. And what does the jiva possess? Karma and Swabhava. So the jiva, before the annihilation, he would go and get attached to Mahavishnu, and jiva will possess what? Karma. Karma will determine my destiny. Okay, what type of body I'm going to get. Based on what? Swabhava, desire. What were my desires previous to the annihilation? Okay, and now he will trigger the time factor. Time factor is also within Brahma's body, and now he will come out of it. So the glands, every time when we say a glance, the glance consists of Kala, Karma, and Swabhava. And even Pradhan is also in Mahavishnu, but what happens? Now these glands will get into Pradhan. Pradhan is the state of equilibrium. State of equilibrium of what? 3 modes of material nature. So here the Pradhan will have same Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, but in equilibrium. Nothing will be agitated. So everything will be in equilibrium in Pradhan. So this is called this Avyaktam. Okay. So when the glance gets into the Pradhan, what happens? Mahat Tattva is formed. What is Mahat Tattva made up of? It is a predominance of Sattva and Rajas. It is just a predominance, not just Sattva Rajas. There is a little factor of Tamas in it, but very minute factor when compared to Sattva and Rajas. Okay, so Mahat Tattva is formed. Further, when the glands feeds on Mahat Tattva, Ahankara or false ego, it gets in, Mahat Tattva gets transformed. So Lord Brahma would have said Vikurvanat. So in every state, he said Vikurvanat. It's just that once get transformed to other based on it gets the glance from Mahavishnu. So the when Mahat Tattva gets transformed into Ahankar gets into three types. Ahankar can be Adi Devam, Adhyatma, Adi Bhuta. Okay, so this Ahankar is predominant of Tamas, but it also has some element of Rajas and Sattva in it. Okay, but it is predominant of Tamas. So what is this Adi Bhutam? Refers to Adi Bhutam is Tamas Ahankar, that is false ego in mode of ignorance, which constitute the Dravya Shakti. So what does the Dravya Shakti do? It is going to create the 5 Mahabhutas, this Mahabhutan, and 5 sense object, Panchendriya Gochara. So this is going to do 5 Mahabhutas and 5 senses. Okay. And when the glance further gets into it, first what happens for his, it always generates from the subtle to gross elements are formed. So first element that is formed is the sound, which is a subtle element, which will get into ether. That's why we have seen in chapter 7, right? I'm the sound. Shabda ke paurusham rishu. So I'm that sound. Then the glance gets into this ether, it gets into touch, and the touch element is formed along with the gross element air. So when air further gets transformed into form and fire gets transformed into taste and water. But if you take this water, it will have the qualities of all these. The water will have sound, the water will have touch, the water will have form, the water will have taste. So all these elements will have the previous subtle element also. And the water, it gets further transformed into smell and the earth. So always it forms from subtle to gross. So this is about the Dravya Shakti, which are necessary basic ingredients. Okay. And now when Ahankar gets splitted into Rajasa Ahankar, which is Adhyatma, what happens? The intelligence, prana, and 10 senses are created. So what are the 10 senses? 5 Jnanendriyas and 5 Karmendriyas. And the Shakti, which gives this Jnanendriya, is the intelligence. And the Shakti for the Karmendriyas is prana. That is why we have seen the Karmendriya is voice, hands, feet, anus, and genitals, right? So that's why we feel if we are taking on fasting, right, we would be very weak. Our voice would be very weak, or else we will feel no energy to work at all. It is because prana is less. Similarly, for intelligence is directly proportional to these Jnanendriya. If for example, if we have seen like little mentally challenged, so they won't be able to differentiate. They won't be able to, sometimes they won't be able to speak or convey, or there's some of it will not be able to work. It's because the Shakti for those Jnanendriyas is the intelligence. Moving further, the Ahankar, which gets transformed into Adi Devam, what it constitutes, it is the false ego in mode of goodness. That is nothing but the Jnana Shakti. The Jnana Shakti consists of mind and sense devatas. And what are the sense devatas? For every this 10 senses, right? Jnanendriya and Karmendriya, there are some sense devatas. I will not go elaborately. So once what has happened? So now the elements are created. And now it was standstill. It's like elements are created, nothing has been functional. And it remained in like that state for 1,000 years without life. And to get it functional, Vishnu has to get into each universe and make it functional. He got into it as a Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. Okay. And even within the universe, he entered into each atom like a Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. So everything is functioning. It's because of Vishnu's glance. And then even after generating the elements, Vishnu has to get it. Only then universe will be functional. So this is the brief details about the primary creation. So why did we do this? to understand the 26 elements more elaborately. So what are the 26 elements? One is Pradhan, Ahankar, mind, intelligence, and the 10 senses, 14, and the 24 senses. Actually, the verse talks about only the 24 senses, but Prabhupada adds Kala and also Vishnu as a 25th and the 26th element, because without it, nothing will be functional. So we can see, in order for soul to get into the body, so many things has to be done. So we already see that everything these say, for example, sound, air, ether, jnanendriya, karmendriya, it's all the product of false ego. So what really belongs to Jiva now? Any takers?
Karma, maybe?
Karma is because that is what he did in the past. The past activities, good or bad, that determines. Okay, karma, it's attached to it. So what really belongs to me, like soul?
Soul
do we
belongs
want
to the
to
super soul.
shape it?
Soul has the super soul. It should understand that I'm connected to him. Am I the amsha of soul? So he should know how to surrender and go back to him.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Acharya says, what belongs to Jiva is the consciousness. So that is why Prabhupada keeps telling, tune your consciousness, divert it to Krishna, make it as a Krishna consciousness. So that's why Prabhupada named the chapter Nature, which is the Kshetra, and Kshetrajna, he split it into the enjoyer and the consciousness. So consciousness is all we have, and that is what we want to tune and then set it right to get back home. Moving further, so now Krishna is going to explain about the process of knowledge. So now we know, knowing about knowledge, knowledge is important to understand Kshetra and Kshetrajna, and knowledge is going to give something much more. But how do we get it? We would have heard this famous verse, Amanitvam madam vitvam ahimsa shanti rajavam acharyo pashanam shaucham stairyam atmanivigraha. So there are so many things that is listed out. It will be very hard for us to go and look into eating, but we will just touch upon one or two. Humility, Amanitvam, humility. His Grace Chaitanya Sharan Prabhu says, humility means not to be proud when we have reason to be proud. And I read a book from His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. Like in his book, he's saying, so humility, what are you proud of? What are you bragging, trying to brag? Just now we saw those elements, right? So we saw the elements. So what do I really have? Do you think that you have beauty? Do you think you have intelligence? Do you think you have good voice? All those are the products of ahankar. So that's not really me. So what do you have that you are bragging about? So just think on those. So he tried to explain. So I thought it's so provoking. And pridelessness, non-violence, and tolerance, simplicity, cleanliness, steadfastness, serving a bona fide guru, self-control, renunciation, no false ego, perception of evil birth, death, janma mrityu jara vyadhi, freedom from attachment to others, equanimity of mind, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, secluded living, the states of crowds, constant engagement and knowledge of self, always keeping in mind the goal of liberation. So Acharya says, yes, these are definitely a great process, but Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, but for both devotees and jnanis, these are first 18 are same. They will both try to follow this process, but the devotee will stick on to this 16th. Mai chanya yogena bhaktir avyaktam imechara. So he will be constant devotion to Krishna with undeviating attention. Once he stick on to the 16th item, everything will fall into it. So that's Prabhupada is even more merciful. He says it's very hard for us to follow in this day and age. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Harinam Sankirtan. Just stick on to it and then fine tune your strength. And Krishna says anything that is outside of this 20 is ajnanam, ignorance. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says this 19 and 20 are only for jnanis. Devotees don't have to worry about it. going further, now we have seen 3 topics. Sorry, I think I'm going short on time. I'll try to be quick. Kshetra, Kshetrajna, and Jnanam. So for Arjuna asked 6 questions and 3 of them has been answered. Now Krishna is going to answer the remaining questions. So for Jnanam, he says, and now I'm going to explain about Jnayam. Jnayam means what? Object of knowledge. And you know what? Once you know it, it will be a nectar of life. Knowing this, you will attain the nectar of life. And he is this object of knowledge, whoever it is Anadi Mat Param Brahma. So Anadi means beginless, Mat Param Brahma. Here Acharya translate this Brahma to be either the Atma. Here the Atma can be the Vijnana Brahma. Vijnana, which we have seen in the 5 koshas, right? Anandamaya, Vijnanamaya. So that Vijnanamaya, he can be in that Vijnanamaya, or the Paramatma, who is Ananda Brahma, Anandamaya. And there is also, there are so many school of thoughts who misinterpret this 13 to 80. They think it's talking about only the Atma. But Prabhupada is so merciful that even in the first statement, he breaks it up and then say, no, here Lord speaks only about the super soul. Because why? In the subsequent verses, Lord is saying, that Brahma, that super soul is pervading all. So Prabhupada says, don't even think about it. Atma, you are just constrained to one body. You are not pervading. Your hands, legs, eyes are not everywhere. But that is not the case with the super soul. In all the microorganisms, in all, there are so many living entities like put together. So that's why it says super soul has his hands, legs, eyes everywhere. And he is the original source of sense. And here, Krishna gives some lofty comparison. He says this super soul, for our ease of communication, let's still stick on to this super soul. Let's not come confused with Brahma. He is source of all senses at the same time without senses. What does that mean? He's a source of all senses, right? And he is without senses means he doesn't have the material senses. Okay, so and the senses, his senses still works. So even though Krishna is far apart, he can see what he can get the offerings which we do in his hands. And even though seated in our heart, he can see what is happening, what are we doing. He can see many things. So his senses are way more comparable to what the soul has. And he is unattached and at the same time maintainer of all living beings. That super soul is unattached. He is not attached. We have seen in 9th chapter, right? Where he say, I create everything, but at the same time, I am not attached, just like the sky. Here they use a similar statement. The super soul is unattached. At the same time, he is maintainer of all living beings. Even though Krishna knows that the world is going to get annihilated, but during that time of creation, he creates so precisely. If we take this material world, there will be no flaw. Nobody can find any defect. If at all we find defect, it is due to our material thinking. But there is no defect in what Lord does. He maintains it so precisely. At the same time, he is nirguna and a guna bhokta. And his nirguna means he is not with material gunas like the sattva, rajas, tamas. But at the same time, he is having the 5 gunas, 6 gunas like we have seen the bhagas, right? Bhagavan. Aishwarya, Virya, Yasha, Shri, Jnana and Vairagya. And then he proceeds further. Bahir antascha bhutanam acharam charam evacha. He is not only this, Bahir, he is living outside and also in antascha bhutanam, also inside. Charam, acharam, living, non-living. Sukshmavat tat avijneyam. This is quite surprising. Sukshmavat is so subtle that we won't be able to see. At the same time, he is avijneyam. Here, Krishna has discussed here, this topic is about Nyayam, but here we are talking about Avijnayam. What does this signify? It's so subtle that we will not be able to understand with our material thinking. So he is Avijnayam. Durastam Antike cha tat. He is far and near. Just like Ishat verse 5 tells, right? He is far away. At the same time, Lord is so near, similar to it. And then after explaining, Krishna was trying to conclude saying, Jnanam, Jneyam, Jnanagamyam. So, he is the knowledge, Jnanam, he is the knowledge. Knowledge of what? Transcendental knowledge. Even if somebody wants to get out of this material world, Krishna in heart would have to give that knowledge so that he gets into the spiritual world, how to get into the spiritual world. Jneyam, he is the object of knowledge, and Jnanagamyam, he is the goal of knowledge. So what is the goal of knowledge? Love of Krishna. And this knowledge would give the liberation. Okay, so you should understand this, that Jneyam for us, Jneyam is a differentiation between the Jnanam and the Jneyam, object of knowledge. And whoever knows this, they will get knowledge of liberation. So finally, he concludes, right? Now I have explained to you, Arjuna. I have told you about the Jneyam. And who can understand this? Mad Bhakta Etat Vijnana. Only my devotees can understand. And after understanding, what do they get? Mad Bhava Yopapadyate. So they will get the Bhava. And here Acharya translate, if it is Jnani, he would be endowed with, if the Jnani is doing this activity with devotion, he would merge with the Lord. Whereas the Ekanta Bhakta, understanding that I, the Krishna, is his master, have such powers, become endowed with prema. So this is all we want, right? So when we started the chapter, we said how Acharya is going to link the jnana part to bhakti. So this is the key verse. So if we follow the process of gaining the knowledge and try to understand between Kshetra, Kshetrajna, and knows who is the object of knowledge, like why are we doing, to whom are we trying to please? If we know that, then finally what that devotee would get? Prema. This is the ultimate aim, right? And now the remaining two topics that are not covered is Prakriti and Purusha. Krishna is going to elaborate on it. Prakriti is beginless and the Purusha is also beginless. So we have seen in chapter 7, text 4 and 5, right? Both the Prakriti, Aparemita Sanyam, and Bhumirapo Nalo Vayu, everything emanates from Krishna. And both Prakriti, we have seen in the primary creation, both emanates from the Lord. So they are same. But what is it different? The guna and the transformation. Prakriti is the cause of guna and the transformation, whereas Purusha is the cause of transform into field. It gets transformed into different fields that is generated by Prakriti. And Prakriti is the bestower of Jiva's misidentification, whereas the Purusha is given a chance to enter a spiritual body. If I am given this opportunity to get a human body, I am given a chance to get into the spiritual world. So wise people will make an effective use of it. And what is the connection between Prakriti and Purusha? Prakriti supplies the body, senses and sense devatas. And connection from Purusha to Prakriti is being the enjoyer of happiness and distress. So this is the key word. So what does the Purusha do? Instead of making use of this body effectively, try to enjoy the happiness and distress that is caused because of the body. An example is the movie. This movie examples keeps coming. Say, for example, same movie example, a person who is trying to watch a movie, he's so engrossed in it. Okay, so he's watching a movie, thinking he is enjoying the movie. But at the same time, say, for example, he decides, okay, I don't want to enjoy, and then he just turned forward. Now he can do whatever he wants. He don't have to get engrossed. But the movie is not going to stop because he turned away. So the movie will keep going. So similarly, what they say is the Prakriti will keep doing the same thing. You don't get associated with it and try to enjoy the benefits of it, happiness or distress. Don't get entangled with it. Because soul gets entangled because of bhoktrutve. That is, due to the enjoyment, the soul gets entangled. And this causes an emotional response. And now Krishna is going to tell about origin of the body. So now why did we get this body? Whatever body it is. Purusha prakriti sthitohi bhungte prakriti jan guna. Karanam guna sangasya sat asat yoni janmashu. Purusha prakriti sthitohi. So the Purusha situated in this prakriti, situated in this body, bhungte prakriti jan guna, is trying to enjoy the result of this guna. Okay, guna means that is happening in the Prakriti. So what is the result of it? Karanam guna sangasya. So now he is going to get associated with the three modes. What happens after he get associated? Sad, asad. Good and bad. Yoni janmashu. The best and not so good. Yoni, the woo, janmasu. Janmasu, getting birth. So because of this enjoyment mentality within the three modes of this Prakriti, he is getting into sad, asad. Like either I can get into a good body next time, like Prabhupada says, I can get into a cat or a dog, or I can get into a devata or a human form next time. So it depends on the enjoyment nature of the Prakriti. So we might say, how he is getting enjoyed? Why is it getting so attracted? So the Acharya says that we don't get easily enjoy, say, earth, water, fire, air, ether, just Pancha Mahabhuta. Nobody gets attracted just by seeing these, right? But when they form into a different shape, like the sunrise, or an opposite gender, or an alcohol, right? When they transform into different things due to the modes, right? Due to sattvic, it can be sunrise, or alcohol is totally tamasic. We will read more about it in 17th chapter. The way the one gets associated with these three modes, he gets into a new body. So this is the reason for transmigration. And here many great acharyas says that this is the Bij Vakya, the seed Vakya, which is going to lay forward the future chapters in the Bhagavad Gita. Why? If we see chapter 15 is going to talk about the upside down tree, right? So any tree should have a seed. So what is the seed? It is because of the Bhunkte Prakriti, because of the seed of this enjoyment. And what is going to nurture this seed? The water is going to be the three modes of material nature, which is going to be chapter 14. And chapter 16 is going to talk about the upper and lower part of the tree, the divine and demoniac. And chapter 17 is going to tell about what is going to happen between the middle part. Whoever is not taking up any prescribed scriptures, whoever is not following the things, what is going to happen to them? What is their final destination? And chapter 18 is going to talk about the summary of everything. So please keep tuned to the remaining session as we learn more about from the great speakers. And now Krishna is telling about the famous verse, Upadrishta Anumantacha Bhakta Bhokta Maheshwara Paramatme Chichatyukto Dehesmin Purushapara. Though Krishna has already explained about the knower of the object of knowledge, like the Nyayam in the previous thing about the super soul, now Krishna is adding, substantiating it, like don't confuse with the soul. The super soul is the Upadrishta and Anumanta. Upadrishta means, Upa means near. Drishta is seer. So he is a seer. Anumanta, bestower of what? Favors. Bharta, master. Bhokta, supreme enjoyer. Maheshwaraha, he is the Lord. Paramatmi, who is that? He is the Paramatma. And Acharya says, Parama Atma. Parama is way beyond. He is the Swamsha, not like common Atma. And he is a Purusha Para. So that super soul is doing observer and bestower of favors, and he's the master and the supreme enjoyer. So you don't think that you are the enjoyer. So what is the result of this knowledge? So what do I gain about knowing what is Prakriti, what is Purusha, and what is a super soul? What do anyone gain about it? The result of this knowledge is going to give liberation, regardless of the present position. What does the present position means? Present position is like where I am put into. I can have so many discomforts. I might be still having some anarthas. I might still having sleeping tendency while I'm doing chanting, or I have so many anarthas, or my conditions would not be favorable. But still, if I have this knowledge that Purusha is different, Prakriti is different, and then super soul is different, that would gain me liberation. And how do I get this knowledge? Either through meditation, practice of these jnana yogas, or nishkama karma yoga. But all this should have bhakti as an element in it. If their bhakti is not there, everything would be futile. And some people would start following this just by hearing. That's why acharyas stress more on this. Like hearing is, Shravanam is our first Navavida bhakti, right? And just by hearing, they will not know what is meditation. They can't meditate on the Paramatma just by sitting, even though they follow just the bhakti, right? They won't be able to meditate. So there are some people who can meditate, who can follow this bhakti process just through hearing. And hearing through whom? From authoritative persons. So if they do that, they will still be able to gain the knowledge and they will be still able to gain the liberation. I think this is the last slide. So, and the final thing is, we are, as of now, Krishna has already explained about the 6 questions, which is Kshetra, Kshetrajna, whatever Arjuna has, Krishna has already explained it. Now, Krishna is going to integrate it and then going to give like a condensed form. That is titled within the section Jnana Chakshu, knowledge, vision of knowledge. So now I know who is who, what is what. So what do I do with it? Krishna is going to explain that. So Krishna is saying, Arjuna, no, whatever it is moving or non-moving in the material world, it is just the combination of Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Have this knowledge. Nothing exists independently. Everything is because of this combination of Kshetra and Kshetrajna. And he's going to talk about true seer, like who is a real seer. Right? Super soul, one who sees that super soul is equally disposed to all living entities. Right? So a person, once we gain this knowledge, like last time, Prakriti Purusha, and even the Jnana, Kshetrajna, we learn so many things, right? Try to identify. So what do they gain? One who is equally disposed will see that super soul, yes, not only I am residing in this body, super soul is also there in each and every living entity. Like this picture, when he sees, he knows that super soul is behind and then seeing what he's doing. He doesn't degrade his mind. And because he doesn't get degraded the mind in the sense, the mind, the transformation which we saw in the verse 7, the changes in the qualities of the body, Icha, Dvesha, Sukham, Dukkham, they don't get degraded by it. They know, okay, these are all the products of Prakriti. I don't have to worry about it. So whoever has that type of knowledge will gain liberation. And he also able to understand that Prakriti is the doer and Jiva, the soul is not the doer. Prior to it, what we have been thinking, Krishna already explained in chapter 3:27 verse, right? Ahankar vimudhartha, it's like without the knowledge, the soul thinks that he is the doer, but actually the Prakriti is the doer. And at the same time, in chapter 5, I think verse 13 or something, Krishna has told, even though situated in the 9 gates, Navadvare Pure Dehi, even though situated in the 9 gates, he doesn't do anything. It's because of this knowledge that he knows Prakriti, Purusha, and the newer of super soul. He knows this, so that is why he was not contaminated by it. And by gaining this knowledge, what do he get? He gets the vision of Brahman. He can see all these living entities during the annihilation process get into the Mahavishnu. At the same time, during the creation process, they come out of the Mahavishnu. So he is able to see this. So whoever is able to get, he attains the Brahman vision. Brahma Sutra Prasannatmana, Shoshati, Na Kangshati. So all talks about that. So as a result of the Brahman vision, what do one get? Anaditwan Nirgunatwan Paramatmayam Avyaya. So Sharirostipi Kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. So even Sharirostipi Kaunteya. So even though he is situated in this body, he doesn't do anything. And he is not entangled with it. Who? The Atma, who is Nirgunatwan, who is without any gunas, and he is Anadi, he is beginless. Okay. So Krishna is saying that soul, which this knowledge will be it doesn't do anything. Na karoti na lipyate, will be able to attain liberation. Here Krishna gives 2 analogy of a sky. Even though it says the sky, it's actually like an example in the air. Air gets deposited in multiple other quantities, like so even though air touches the filthy place, air touches some frame, say instance sticks or something good, it doesn't take the property of that element. Similarly, the soul, even though it gets into multiple bodies, it doesn't take the property of the element. It still remains aloof. This is just to prove that soul is different and body is different. Krishna is giving this analogy. At the same time, he is like a sun. What does the sun do? Even though situated in one place, it is giving light to the entire universe. It is illuminating the entire universe, right? Now, this part of earth is now, it is morning. Similarly, soul, even though situated in one place, it is going to lighten up the whole body. Prabhupada didn't wait for chapter 13 to give this explanation. Even in chapter 2, 18th purport itself, he gave, like, even though a soul, he is situated in the body, he illuminates the whole body. That's why we are having the consciousness. If the soul is gone, the whole body is like a dead matter. So finally, the last verse of this chapter, Kshetra Kshetrajnayoryevam Antaram Jnana Chakshusha Bhuta Prakriti Moksham Che Ye Vidur Jnati Ye Param. So whoever knows, Vidur, those intelligent person who has the vision of this Jnana Chakshusha, vision of knowledge, will be able to identify the Antaram. What is Antaram? Differences between Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Kshetrajnayor. Okay. And he will be able to see Bhuta Prakriti Moksham. He, even though situated here, he will be able to attain the Moksham, the liberation. So this is what Krishna is promising us as a knowledge gained in this chapter. Prakriti and Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna. That is all we have for this chapter. I will just give a quick review. So what did we see? We saw Arjuna's 6th question. Kshetra is the field. Kshetrajna, there are 2 kinds of Kshetrajna, soul and the super soul. Jnanam, the knowledge. The knowledge of Kshetra and Kshetrajna is the knowledge. And how do we gain that knowledge? All those 20 characteristics, but devotee will follow only one, which is unalloyed devotional service to Krishna, come what may. And Nyayam, the object of knowledge, which is the super soul. And also know that Atma is different. And Prakriti and Purusha. Prakriti is the material nature and the Purusha. And Purusha is Atma, and here Purusha also refers to Paramatma. And Krishna also gave details about the composition of body. That's we saw. The other 6 topics which Krishna said he will elaborate. The composition of body is the 24 elements. The qualities is the Icha, Dvesha, Sukham, Dukkham, right? Changes that body undergoes. It is because of this qualities that changes 6 kind of transformation. Origin of the body, that is the Bijvakya. The Bhumte Prakriti Jankuna in verse 23, Krishna explained it. And identify the knower of the object. This is the key verse, Paramatma verse, which is the Upadrishta Anumanta. And the influence of the knower, Nyayam. So the influence means the, what is the, we learned about super soul is situated in one place, but at the same time he's far away. The super soul is unattached, at the same time maintains everything. So those are all the influence. So it's very hard to conceive with our small brain, but through the words of Acharya, we will try to imbibe something. And finally, Krishna concludes this chapter with the vision of knowledge. Like once we gain this knowledge, what do we attain, which we saw just in the previous slide. Before I conclude, I just wanted to add one thing. We might wonder, the whole chapter is dealing about the soul. Soul, please don't get entangled in this body. You are different from this body. And whatever we learned in the previous chapters of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has also elaborated. So why stressing more on the soul? Anybody would have some question, right? To that, Prabhupada gives us an answer. The soul is the object of your love, not this body. And why you take care of your soul? Because it is part and parcel of Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is the ultimate object of love, and that is Krishna consciousness. So, Prabhupada gave us a wonderful family and gave us the Krishna consciousness so that we all go back to Godhead. That is all we have. I'm so sorry. I took some extra time. Apologies. I will now Vancha kalpatarupyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak. I'm sorry if I have hurted anyone with my incorrect choice of word. Please forgive me, thinking that I am just a budding devotee who is just trying to learn the knowledge. I'm open to corrections and also some comments so that it will be helpful for my Krishna consciousness journey. Thank you so much, Mataji. I will hand over the call back to you.
Hare Krishna, Charu Mataji, what a beautiful class. Very grateful to you. I was not there a couple of minutes in the beginning. Vrunda was saying there is some quiz. Is that correct? You said announced there is a quiz?
Yes, Mataji, I thought I will ask the review slide was supposed to be a quiz, but because I ran short of time, I just condensed it. So sorry.
Okay, no worries, no worries. I was not there near the computer 2 minutes. I went in the kitchen. So I want to make sure everything is covered. That's why I'm asking. And thank you, Mataji, for such a beautiful, beautiful class. Very detailedly explained. Even a small kid can understand. Small, small detail also you are explaining so nicely, Mataji. Very grateful to you. And I really apologize because I did not introduce you properly. I didn't even say that you are one of our Bhakti Sangha Kids Academy teacher. Please forgive me, Mataji, and dear devotees. She is one of our coordinator. She teaches very nice moral stories for all the kids and also regular classes for the Kids Academy. Thank you, Mataji, for the beautiful class and very grateful to you. I'll hand over the call to Priti Mataji. She is really excited to talk to you.
What did you do, Mataji? Oh my God, this was mind blowing. What a fantastic class. I've never heard such a beautiful class on the 13th chapter. I mean, there are beautiful classes, but you did such a thorough job. Hearing is one thing we all hear, but very rarely we hear, we assimilate, we digest, and then we speak what we have digested. So I see all of that together in this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful class. So thorough. You had brought in every single point from every verse. I have not seen such a thorough job. Really, it was so beautiful. So beautiful. And by any chance, I mean, I just want to stand corrected. Is this your first class ever for the adult, or have you done classes before?
Mataji, she did
Actually,
Lilamrita, right?
Prabhupada-
Even in our class.
Lilamrita. Okay. Yeah, besides the Lilamrita. I'm just asking Bhagavad Gita Bhagavatam.
Yeah, first.
It doesn't look like that at all, Mataji.
All Gurus to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. It's definitely the learnings is from the Bhakti Sangha Japa group. We gave us so many wonderful speakers, and I just wanted to keep that momentum going. I tried my little best. It's all due to Guru and Gauranga mercy. So
My
that's
God,
why they
you're
have in my background. Without their mercy, can't proceed any further.
just shows your interest, Mataji. So beautiful. And you're an amazing speaker as well. Thank you so much. I don't have enough words to glorify. You never lost track of the content. It's very easy to speak a lot of things and completely lose track of what you intended to say. But this class was very nice because you always had a connecting point from one verse to the other without losing track. You were able to give everything very philosophically crystal clear. Because this chapter is hard to understand. Everybody accepts that. It's not an easy chapter, 13th chapter. And you were able to connect to many important points. You were even pulling from, I think this was Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 5 or something, about the creation process. How exactly this Pradhan and Mahatsattva, and then what is prominent, which mode is prominent in which part of it, whether it is the false ego or what. That entire chapter actually you summarized within like 3-4 minutes. I was really amazed. So beautiful, Mataji. Such a thorough research job you have done, and you have a very nice flair for presenting beautifully as well. So we couldn't take off our ears even for 1 second. So extremely grateful to you. I will keep this as my to-go class for the 13th chapter. Thank you so much.
Just one disclaimer: that chart is not prepared by I reused the chart from His Grace
Yeah.
Balram Shakti Prabhu. My only change was I added colors so that it matched my PPT. My daughter and me like colors, so I just
Oh
added
yeah,
colors.
and the PPTs were beautiful. The transitions. I thought it was Smriti's work to add transitions. So that was actually very nice. Please congratulate her also for this brilliant presentation. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. More Gurus to Srila Prabhupada.
And your previous class on Leelamrita was also very, very nice, Mataji. Thank you. And we have more raised hands. Sukaka Krishna Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Charu Mataji, Charu Radha Mataji. I'll tell you only 4 things what I could understand. You read the Bhagavad Gita very, very nicely, very clearly. You have done a lot of research work. So I can say 4 R's. You read it properly and you released it properly. You understood and you released the whole thing. Third thing, you have realized it properly. And 4th thing, now you are radiated. You made all of us radiate. So read, release, realize, and radiate. And I can say now research also you can make. You can make doctorate in 13 chapters.
Hare
So wonderful. All the best. Nothing to say that you are
all
best,
Guru
good
Shira
speaker.
Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. I think without their mercy, please bless me that I'll be able to continue in the journey properly. So I'm just
Good
holding on to
diction.
that sloka in this chapter 13, where Krishna promised us Mad Bhakta Bhava Evacha. So I'm just holding on to it. Hopefully one day, some lifetime, I'm just seeking everybody's mercy.
So all 5 R's have you come now. Read, release, realize, radiate, and research. You can become a doctorate now. All the best, Mataji.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Take care.
Pranam, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Her Grace Kirtida Sundari Mataji, please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. Excellent session, Mataji. The most difficult chapter of Bhagavad Gita. But you explained it so nicely. I'll not say difficult, but very, very confusing chapter. But you explained it so nicely. Actually, I heard you for the first time. Maybe I've missed your Leelamrita session.
Mataji, you liked it, that one also so much. You on
Somehow
that
I
day.
missed it. I
Yeah,
don't know.
maybe you don't remember. You gave a very
Yeah, I
nice.
don't remember,
nice
but I
presentation.
really like her enthusiasm, the way so enthusiastically she was presenting everything, and very expert, professional kind of class you gave, Mataji. It was so wonderful, and I think so. Me and Preeti Vilasini Mataji can understand because she did TTC with us, and you literally followed everything for the TTC thing, especially the last summarization. You know, in few minutes you summarized the entire chapter. That was very, very wonderful. Glories to your service, Mataji. Pray that you progress more and more in your bhakti and keep giving more classes. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, all Guru Maharaj and Shira Prabhupada. Please bless me. Hare Krishna. I always look up to you. I was so worried before I put sign off the date, like Mamta Mataji, even I was looking on to it for a long time. I know chapter 13 is very, very close to me, but I've never explored. But I was always thinking, oh, Sukasagari Mataji did not put. So, and then I was keep on checking for 1 week. And finally I decided, okay, Krishna, if I don't see a name in so-and-so date, then I will go and add my name. So many elated speakers. So I feel so much short that I have added.
Actually, when I was in India, Preeti Vilasini Mataji assigned me this chapter. She said, are you free on January 20th or December 20th or 21st to give class? I said, no, I'm not free. Well, thank you. I'm glad that I didn't sign up for anything because you did really a wonderful job, Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. It's all from Acharya's notes, Mataji. I just didn't anything. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Charu Mataji. Thank you, Kirtida Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, any more realizations? Please go ahead. We have some chat comments. I would like to read that. Yes. Okay. Hare Krishna, Mataji, please kindly share the PPT in the group. This is Dr. Kalpagavalli Mataji is requesting. Okay. And Shivani Mataji is saying, yeah. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for a very, very beautiful summary and for great association. Please give your association more often in future. Amazing class, Shivani Mataji. Okay, Chinmayi Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji, very beautiful class for such a deep philosophy. Heard only last part. Thank you so much. Yes, Mataji, we missed you in the beginning of the class, but you will be hearing later. I know that. Revati Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Very, very beautiful class. Thank you so much. Yes, these are the chat
Hare
messages.
Krishna,
Yeah, please go ahead, Mataji.
Mataji, please forgive me.
Yeah. Do you want to say something, Mataji? Oh.
Hare Krishna beta koti koti dandvat pranam. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Gopinath ki jai. So sincerely you explained the Shri Bhagavad Gita class, Mataji. You have so much potency. Your hard work we can see. Yes, that is a mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, our Acharya and Six Goswami. But you work hard to present it very easy way that everybody understand. Koti koti dandvat pranam. Your sincere seva. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Gopinath ki jai. Bless Gopi, you are Mataji. Please
Hare
Gopi,
Krishna.
koti
Thank
koti
you.
dandvat
More
pranam.
glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gaur Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Okay, once again, thank you, Mataji, for such a beautiful, beautiful class. We are looking forward to see you on more on mid mornings. Please do come again and give classes. We will be very happy to hear from you. And as children are enjoying your moral stories, your classes, we would also love to be there and hear your classes in the adult sessions, Mataji. Thank you so much. I would like to offer my obeisances. Vanchakalpatarobhyasya kripa sindhu bhyevacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय शीला प्रभुपाद की जय हर ग्रेस चारू राधा माता जी की जय
Thank you, beta koti koti dandvat.
Jai, Jai.
बोल
Gauranga, Nityananda,
नित्यानंदा
Nityananda, Gauranga, Gauranga, Nityananda. Jai Jai Shri Radhesham. सबको मिले वृंदावन धाम. गोवर्धन गिरिलाल की जय.
Navadivitham. Okay. Hari Bol. Ending the
हरि
call.
बोल
The